What if nothing inside of you is broken? Just sit with that for a moment. Not misaligned, not wounded, not something that needs to be fixed. What if the very part of you you're trying to silence are the parts of you that learn how to keep you alive? Most people relate to themselves as a problem, a pattern to correct, a reaction to control, a flaw to overcome. And we rarely question that assumption. But what if that assumption is the fracture? Fear is usually treated as the enemy, something to conquer, something to transcend, something to cast out, something that means you failed spiritually or psychologically. But fear isn't a defect. Fear is intelligence under threat. Fear doesn't oppose wholeness. Fear protects survival. And when survival feels at risk, consciousness does something very specific. It divides. The mind fragments, not because it's weak, but because coherence feels unsafe. So awareness specializes. One part learns to stay awake or alert, another learns to withdraw, another learns to please, another learns to control. These aren't pathologies, they're strategies. Each part carries a job. Each job was learned in response to something real. And when we try to eliminate these parts, we're not becoming whole, we're continuing the threat. There's a line attributed to Christ that says, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." That's often heard as moral warning, but it isn't moral, it's structural. A divided system loses coherence, not because it's sinful, but because it can't recognize itself as one. Division weakens awareness, not because the parts are bad, but because they're cut off from the whole. And what we call fragmentation is really consciousness trying to survive without integration. Here's the shift: the parts of you aren't the problem, they're the record of how you adapted. They formed to protect you when something felt overwhelming, unsafe, or unpredictable. They don't need to be destroyed, they need to be re-owned. Integration isn't force, it's recognition. It's allowing awareness to return to what it once had to leave behind. Not to relive it, not to fix it, but to include it. So instead of asking, "How do I get rid of this part of me?" try asking something quieter. What was this part protecting? And what would it mean to listen instead of fight?